You may proceed, Dr. Donnie Johnson.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our second Food Insecurities, Eating Beyond the Day, Martin Luther King Day of Service presentation. We are super excited to have you here today, and we just want to say thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us so that the Trenton Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated could come to you and present information on Eating Beyond the Day, Food Insecurity 2.0. We have done this last year, and this year we took it up a notch. And so we're thankful that you decided to come here today and be with us. And we want you to have an opportunity to sit back, learn some new information, hopefully have some resources that will give you an opportunity to go beyond when it comes to eating beyond the day, and news that you can use. We want to begin going over some housekeeping information. Throughout the presentation today, in our chat, you will find a link for the survey. We want you to understand that that link will be put in the chat several times throughout our presentation this afternoon. And so please, before you depart from us today, make certain that you take the time to complete the survey. Your feedback allows us to move forward in a way that brings you information, one, that you can use, and two, continue to improve what we're bringing to you to make certain that the information is relevant. We appreciate you today for coming. We're going to begin by having some presentations and some introductions and some welcoming. So first and foremost, let me say welcome, welcome, welcome. We thank you so much for coming today.
We'll share the housekeeping.
So yes, our housekeeping rules are, or information is, if you have a question, please put it in the chat and someone will read it out to you. If you want to have the link again for the survey, please make certain that you check the chat because that information will be there. Soror Quince, was there any other housekeeping information I needed to share? Other than this is be live streamed on Facebook. And so if you want to, you can also find information on Facebook Live.
Okay, hold on. And let's share the housekeeping rules.
Okay, thank you.
Here you
Okay,
are,
great.
Dr. Donnie.
Okay, so mute your microphone. When asked to unmute, please be mindful of background noise. So please, by all means, we don't want to have any background noise. Use the chat feature to post your questions or concerns. Use the reaction feature as instructed. Select speaker view for most activities unless otherwise stated. When you have the speaker view, it really does give you opportunity to get the full picture of the people that are presenting or speaking at the time. And please, again, as we have said, complete our survey evaluation form during or at the conclusion of the program today. Thank you. Thank you so much, Soror Quince. At this time, we would like to bring forward to you our illustrious president, Madam Georgette Bowman, who will be giving you a welcome and an introduction for our next welcome. So I'll let her share who she's going to bring up forward. And at this time, we want to bring to you none other than Trenton Alumni Chapter President, Madam President Georgette Bowman. Hear ye her.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us as we honor and celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the most visible spokesman and leader of the civil rights movement. I'm proud that Delta Sigma Theta sorority is living our legacy and making an impact for 109 years through sisterhood, scholarship and service, and social action. I am honored to present Soror Alicia Benjamin Stinnett, who is a graduate of Spelman College and initiated into Delta Sigma Theta sorority in 1982. She is a member of Morristown Alumni Chapter and has served on various committees. But currently, she serves as the New Jersey State Social Action Coordinator and as co-chair of New Jersey Redistricting Cohort. Sora Benjamin Stinnett, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, President Bowman. I come to you this afternoon bringing greetings on behalf of the New Jersey State Social Action Chairs and Committees. As always, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, even in the midst of a pandemic, has continued to work on behalf of our communities, and I am proud to say the Trenton Alumni Chapter has been on the forefront of those efforts. Trenton Alumni Chapter has shifted its energies to engaging virtually and addressing the mental and physical impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. They've engaged in voter registration and worked collaboratively with other like-minded organizations. Trenton alumni and other Delta alumni and collegiate chapters have been actively engaged in the state legislative redistricting efforts and have provided community of interest maps as well as testimony before the New Jersey Redistricting Commission. Trenton Alumni Chapter has been very busy. It has advocated for policies that close the educational achievement gaps for Black children and their counterparts, provided resources to improve public health infrastructure, and has addressed health disparities that continue to place Black communities at higher risk for disease and mortality. As part of their continuing response to addressing health disparities, Trenton alumni is tackling the plight of food insecurity that plagues our community. Consider this. According to the Food and Research Action Center in 2021, over 38 million Americans lived in households in which there was a food insecurity and an inability to afford nutritious food. Additionally, 1 in 25 households experienced very low food security, wherein they regularly skip meals or reduce meals because they cannot afford more food. 1 in every 7 households with children could not buy enough food to feed their families. And 21.7% of Black and 17.2% of Latinx families are disproportionately impacted by food insecurity rates that are higher than those of white households at a rate of 7.1%. The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on families struggling with food insecurity disproportionately impacts people of color and has long-term consequences. The importance of this date, the commemoration of the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the topic, Eating Beyond a Day 2.0, are inexorably entwined, as it was Dr. King who spoke not just about racism, but injustice, including the injustice of hunger. In his December 11th, 1964 Nobel lecture, he posed this question: why should there be hunger and deprivation in any land, in any city, at any table, when man has the resources and the scientific know-how to provide all mankind with the basic necessities of life? He went on to say, there is no deficit in human resources. The deficit is in human will. Trenton Alumni Chapter shows that there is no deficit in our will to address this issue and to advocate for change. I would like to thank the Trenton Alumni Chapter for its commitment to addressing this critical topic. As always, they are about the business of our beloved Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and I extend kudos in advance for what I know will be an informative and impactful discussion. Special thanks to the leadership of the Trenton Alumni Chapter, including SORA President George H. Bauman, Social Action Chair SORA T. Missy Balmer, and Health and Wellness Chair SORA Linda Wyatt Simpson. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Soror Benjamin Stennett. We appreciate you, and we really thank you for sharing those statistics with us. At this time, we would like to move forward in our program and give you some information on what is food insecurity and play for you a short video on food insecurity. Please, at this time, tune into the video. Thank you.
Food insecurity is a measure of the inability to access food. It's not the same idea as hungry or hunger, but they are connected. The U.S. Department of Agriculture estimates that around 11 to 12% of U.S. households are food insecure. These are individuals who have difficulty accessing meals, have to cut meals, have to share meals, or may miss a day or two of a meal in the course of a period of time because they're not able to afford those meals. Food insecurity is often linked with a number of poor health outcomes, such as diabetes and cardiovascular problems. It has also been linked to issues of behavioral challenges at school, but food insecurity is not equally distributed by all people. Some households experience food insecurity more, particularly ethnic minority households, single-parent households, and understanding food insecurity is an important factor in order to understand how we can improve not only nutrition, but the well-being of all Americans.
Thank you very much for that information. At this time, we're going to move forward with our legislative session discussion. And we're going to have our assembly people. We have assemblyman and we have an assemblywoman. And so I'm going to introduce them at this time. And when I introduce them, I'm going to start by giving you some information about their background and their bios. And so let me begin with Assemblyman Benjamin E. Wimberly. Benji E. Wimberly recently sworn in for his 6th term in the New Jersey General Assembly. He has been appointed to serve as the General Assembly Speaker pro tempore, which is second in command to General Assembly Speaker. Soror Quince, I don't know that I am spotlighted right now. Could you make sure I'm spotlighted? Which is second in command to General Assembly Speaker Craig Callan. He will continue to serve on the Budget Committee and several others. He has continued to serve on the Budget Committee and several others. During the 219th legislative session, he served as the Deputy Speaker and sat on the Assembly Budget Committee, Chairman of the Housing and Community Development Committee, and Transportation and Independent Authorities Committee, the Joint Committee on Housing Affordability, the Joint Committee on the Public Schools, and co-chairman of the Joint Committee on Economic Justice and Equal Employment Opportunity. New Jersey General Assembly Speaker has also appointed him to serve on the NJSIAA, the New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association, and the NJSETC, which is the New Jersey State Employment and Training Commission. He has previously served as the chairman of the Commerce and Economic Development Committee, vice chairman of Telecommunications and Utilities Committee, vice chairman of the Assembly Regulatory Oversight and Reform and Federal Regulations Committee, the Assembly Judiciary Committee, and the Assembly Women and Children's Committee. He is a 1989 graduate of Virginia State University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in sociology. He holds a certificate as a teacher of children with disabilities from William Patterson University. He is the recreation coordinator for Patterson Public Schools and the defensive coach for the St. Joseph Regional High School, former head football coach for the Hackensack High School, and previously was head football coach for Patterson Catholic High School. Mr. Wimberly is a life member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, a member of the NAACP, and Reverend Frank Napier Jr. Scholarship Committee, as well as many boards and commissions. Mr. Wimberly has collaborated with his civic organization, Team Hope, council, colleagues, and community agencies to provide the following services: expungement seminars, tax appeal seminars, foreclosure workshops, Go Green initiatives, clothing drives, dinner for the needy, toy drives, project graduation, Thanksgiving turkey donations, and community cleanups, as well as the Jordan Cleaves Scholarship Fund. Additionally, Assemblyman Wimberly has been recognized with many awards, citations, proclamations, and resolutions. To name a few, in 2017, he received a Lifetime Achievement Award presented by President Barack Obama. Assembly Wimberly and his wife, Kimberlyn, are proud parents of 4 sons: Justin, Jared, Jordan, and Jaden. At this time, I would like to recognize Assemblyman Benjamin Wimberly. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good to see you.
Thank you, sis. I appreciate it. Good afternoon. It's definitely a great honor with the Trenton Alumni Association. My good sisters, Missy Balmer, and my assembly colleague, Assemblywoman Verlena Reynolds Jackson, and to so many. I appreciate this. This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And it's something I know that, we as a community have to work on that much harder, and particularly during this time of COVID and the pandemic. I would really be remiss if I didn't mention that my wife is Soro of Delta Sigma Theta. She's Fall 86, Alpha Eta chapter, Virginia State University, #2. So I had to get that in case she's watching. I don't know if she's out here, but I want to make sure
You're in good company. You're in good company.
Yes.
Good job. Good job.
Yes, I know for those recognitions. And my 2 oldest sons are members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. My oldest is Gamma Epsilon, Hampton University. My second oldest is Nu Psi, my alma mater, Virginia State University. So we got 2 so far. We're working on the other 2 as they get to college, through college.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And so I'm going to begin with you. And would you like to share with us your background with food insecurity, what you've been working on? I do have a few questions, but I would like for you to highlight for us your avenues that you have taken regarding food insecurities.
Well, the one, my really awakening of food insecurity was I was a classroom teacher for 9 years at Eastside High School in Patterson. And to really understand what food insecurity is, even before the term food insecurity is, when you're a homeroom teacher and your students walk into class with quarter water, honey buns, butter rolls, now and laters,
Coke soda, don't forget the Coke soda, right?
Yeah,
And the Coke soda, right?
Watermelon, lemon, every flavor, pineapple, you know what you're dealing with food insecurity. So I work closely with our administration involved with a morning breakfast feed program. As a coach, I knew it was important that we would start practice sometimes at 6 o'clock so the kids would eat breakfast after we worked out. So they would eat. Many times they just don't have, the means, or, working parents to make sure that they even have a bowl of Cheerios or whatever it may be to go through the day. So when I became part of the city council in the city of Patterson, I continued a program where I worked with feeding folks during the year and throughout the holidays. At the legislative level, the reality is that a city the size of Patterson, which we are the 3rd largest city in the state of New Jersey, we do not have a major supermarket in town. So our folks still are buying, turkey and cheese on the books. And if you're from the hood, you understand what I'm talking about on the books. You go to the corner bodega and you don't always have to pay. You pay at the end of the week or you pay whatever, and they buy food from there. Now, the refrigeration system in these places and the freshness of the meat and the food is not always the best. So I guess a couple of sessions ago, I introduced a fresh food bill, which did not pass. And I really could not understand why it did not pass. I'm going like, this is common sense. And you said it in your opening, that part of food insecurity also attributes to high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity, all the things that we are fighting that come with food insecurity should come with fresh food. So this
Right.
bill in particular would give them funds to make sure that their lighting system, the refrigeration system was updated, and that it would give fresh food to the neighborhood, bodegas and stores. That bill still has not been signed into law until last session. So that's the fight that we're fighting. We'll continue to be there.
Assemblyman Wimberly, I would like for you to put a pin in that. We're going to bring up at this time our Assemblywoman, Verlina Reynolds Jackson. Let me give her bio and then she'll join us and we'll move forward together. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King Jr. Assemblywoman Verlina Reynolds Jackson, try to say that 5 times real fast, is a product of the Trenton Public School System and has obtained advanced degrees from Trenton State College, the College of New Jersey, Central Michigan University. Her career as a social worker, coupled with the commitment to public service, led her to the elected position of East Ward Councilwoman and Council Vice President, where she legislated laws for the city of Trenton. Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson proudly served 7.5 years on city council before being elected to fill the vacant New Jersey Assembly seat in the 15th Legislative District. Mrs. Reynolds Jackson currently serves as Deputy Majority Leader and Vice Chairwoman of the Assembly Consumer Affairs Project Committee. She is a member of the Assembly Budget Committee, the Assembly Commerce and Economic Development Committee, the Joint Committee on Public Schools, and the Joint Committee on Economic Justice and Equal Employment. The Assemblywoman also serves as a commissioner on the State of New Jersey Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Since graduating from college, the Assemblywoman has continued her education through the New Jersey Redevelopment Authority and Rutgers University. For the past 10 plus years, Verlina Reynolds Jackson has been committed to serving her constituents through public service. She has achieved great satisfaction working with various populations, including her neighbors, the homeless, elderly, children, and people with disabilities. Her work has focused on social justice, enforcing business and landlord responsibility, environmental protection, demanding accountability for students, and working with the police regarding crime prevention. Verlina resides in the city of Trenton with her husband, her wonderful husband, Lorenzo Jackson. She has memberships and affiliations in the College of New Jersey Alumni Board, Association Board, Women's Political Caucus of New Jersey, League of Women Voters, and my soror in Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Trenton Alumni Chapter. Again, she has a Master's of Science and Administration from Central Michigan University, a Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology from Trenton State College, which is now called the College of New Jersey, and the State of New Jersey Certified Municipal Finance Officer. So at this time, welcome, soror. So good to see you once again.
Good to see you too. Good to see all my sisters. This is home for me. Full disclosure, Trenton Alumni is my home. This is where I come with my sisterhood. It was happy to celebrate with everyone a couple of days ago. And so we've just been busy here. And I think this is really a time for us to pat ourselves on the back of all of the great work that we do in social action. Trenton Alumni is phenomenal. We're just not about the work of patting ourselves, but we're also digging our heels in, and we're out in the community, and you have shown that time and time again. So thank you for having me come here today and talk about food insecurities. And I thank Assemblyman Wimberly for being here. Benji was how you go to church and you get your first friend? So Benji was my first friend. We sat on the same row together, and I could just ask him anything. He said, no, we good. We want to be back here. We on the back row. And so I thank you for always being there for me, and congratulations congratulations to him. We both just won our another re-election. This is my third term, and congratulations to him on his leadership position and all that he brings. And so we are the voices at the leadership table now, and so I'm super excited for us to be able to have the ability to advocate for change at the agenda setting time. So I'm happy
Well,
to be
I
here.
thank you so much for those opening words. And at this time, we're going to bring Assemblyman Wimberly back to our screen. And the three of us are going to have a little dialogue. I have some questions here that I want to ask you both, and you can take turns or decide who's going to answer them. But our first question is, how can consumers follow the implementation of the law in the state and in their community?
Well, I think one thing, we have to realize this, the food insecurity bill has changed. I don't know if anyone realizes that, but in lame duck, that's like the last couple of sessions before we turn over. But the bill has changed. And so, which is a good thing. It's changed because now it's going to be named the Office of, it's the Office of Food Security and Food Security Advocates is going to be placed under the Department of Agriculture instead of the Department of the Economic Development Authority, which is a good thing, which makes sense because a lot of our resources come from there. And I think at this point, we have to continue to keep our eye on what happens. The governor has to appoint someone in that spot, in that position. And it's important that we continue to help out. Assemblyman Wimberly will be dropping the bill that he talked about very, very soon. We have to be able to follow that, come to the State House or come on Zoom and testify to support the bill. I think when you look at food insecurities, and Assemblyman, you did such a great job at talking about having access. When you walk into a store, if you don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, you're going to pick up what's quick and on the run. Sometimes it's convenient, but other times it's just that's all they have. They don't have the equipment in order to keep it there. They might not have the financial resources to purchase refrigeration systems. But why should we be the population that has to suffer from that? And he talked about it. Bad decisions lead to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, heart attacks, high sodium, fatty foods. We are, all of these health conditions happen when you can't regulate your body. You can't go, you don't have those options. So why not drill down on trying to make sure that these convenience stores and bodegas have the equipment to do that? And then also partnering with our local farmers. We have a great, the capital city here in Trenton, we have the capital city area farm. We also have down in the South Ward, they're starting their farming system out there as well. We have the Hopewell farm that's out in Hopewell that are doing great things. If you don't know about these resources, we'll be putting them in the chat. I know Ed is on the call, and so he's going to put some of these resources in. But these are great ways for us to partner. And I think we have to meet people where they are. Now, I used to have a plant in my office, but I couldn't keep it alive. So I'm going to start over. And so we might have to do that in our community by starting out with a seed, maybe just a little pod to say, why don't you try growing your own oregano or your own spices somewhere, and then we can graduate to something else. But it puts you in the mindset of trying to make something more of a habit, and so that it's natural. And I know we have some other workshops down the road, but the more we talk about it, the more it becomes a part of your lifestyle. And so then you can go into the store and question, do I want to get that honey bun or do I want to grab that apple instead? But we have to make sure that they have the option of grabbing an apple instead of the honey bun. Right now we don't. So Assemblyman, I look forward to working with you on that bill, and I'm sure we're going to have a call to action after this round go here, and we'll have some red and white in there to support us as well.
Thank you so much for answering that question, Assemblywoman Jackson. The next question, how long will it take for us to feel the impact of the legislation in our community, and what is it expected to look like? I heard you just say that you want to look for options when it comes to our department stores and when it comes to our corner bodegas. And so what will that look like in our community, to expound on that? Thank you.
Well, Assemblywoman, if I could, more or less, it should move fast. I mean, one is the food insecurity issues are a priority of our Speaker, Craig Coughlin. So he's a major sponsor of all these bills. And it helps when you have your speaker or your Senate president or governor leading an initiative. So this is something that I think to move fast. I think COVID brought the light really what food insecurity is all about. If you're in the inner cities and maybe not even inner cities, the rural areas, we had food locations where people had to come and pick up food for their families and children like that. So we need to get the word out. Like you said, we need the Deltas to get out. We need the churches to get out. We need the community action organizations to get out. And even if we're doing a virtual meetings, you need to load those meetings up so we can move it. When you have a lot of agitation and people are pushing stuff, this is a good fight. This is a good fight. Nobody's gonna argue with you at this point that there are food insecurities. And the food insecurities go beyond just the urban areas. That's something I want to state. There's major food insecurities in a lot of our rural areas and suburban places that are dealing with issues such as unemployment and things of that nature, where their funds have not come in and are facing the choice of, as they said back in the day, wish soup. You don't wish you had some meat in it, but it's just some beef vegetables. So this is a reality that I think will happen real soon.
I also think, I know I read somewhere about the state departments coordinating together. So with the Department of Health, the Department of Labor, having those links to be able to get to the SNAP application, to be able to get to food resources, so that they can see, they don't have to go look for it. The easier it is for them to find in those type of locations, the better they will be. But I think it also depends on, our economy right now. I think it depends on where people are in their circumstances. If you're working, if you're looking for work, if you're going back to work, or are you in that space where you're not able to work right now? How does this, the increases that we've done in the SNAP program will benefit some people, but also we have to look at, and I know we're going to talk about it later, but our college students on campuses. But I think the call to action for everyone on this call right now is to be able to, donate food if you can. And sometimes we may be the recipients. I'm only I'm only about 1 or 2 paychecks away from being in somebody's food line myself. We have to make sure that we take care of each other. And so that may mean, looking at the stuff on your shelves if they're going to expire soon, can you give it away? When you go to the grocery store, can you buy that? They got 10 for 10. Can you buy 5 for you and 5 for somebody else? But let's be able to keep those shelves filled, because there are a lot of people that are still in line. They haven't gone away. They've just come out because they can't afford to stay home to feed their families. And so we have to make sure that they know that the resources out there. Sometimes it's not about all online and the internet. We got to do paper mail. We got to send things through the mail. We might have to do door to door and knock and drop to make sure they get the information out there. For us, I think this is where we can gear up and get into action. This is action mode. These are actionable items that Delta can definitely get done, and people in the community can also do. Our churches are also a great resource. They're right in the middle of the community. So they have food pantries as well. They take items. We have to make sure that we can continue to give, and God will bless us in the end.
Thank you so much. Thank you both. I really appreciate those answers. The third question that I have for you is, how can people get involved in working with the new Office for Positive Change in their communities?
Assemblywoman, if I could, reach out to your legislators. And that's something that we have to make ourselves more visible as legislators. And I know in a lot of communities, people are not sure what assemblymen or assemblywomen are. I was a councilman and you were a councilwoman. I still have folks call me councilman wherever I go, whatever. So we have to really do the outreach. As our assembly offices, as our assembly teams, I think we have to really go and reach out. I think our Black Caucus should take a major lead when it comes to food insecurity, because of the impact of people of color. So we really have to do a great marketing job, not just on social media, but like Assemblywoman said, visiting churches, boots on the ground, going out to these organizations, making sure they understand, having community meetings to get information out, to disseminate information, and to get some of these folks placed on some of these committees that are out here. And believe it or not, many of the committees that impact stuff like this are not filled in the state of New Jersey and all around. So if you are interested, just reach out. I had somebody reach out to me today. I believe she's on here today, one of our good sisters, and we're going to make sure she gets on that commission.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. At this time, we actually are going to move forward. We have had opportunity to speak with you, and you have done a phenomenal job in answering our questions. We couldn't be more excited that you decided to take time out of your busy schedules and share with our sorority today, so we can give information to our community members, so we can continue to be that force in the community where people can get news they can use, and also to be informed about what they can do to help those who may be dealing with food insecurity. At this time, we're going to have a video remarks will be provided to us. Assemblyman Wimberly spoke of Mr. Coughlin, the Speaker Coughlin, and now he's going to give us a video presentation where he's going to share remarks more on food insecurity 2.0. We will have that video at this time. Thank you.
Sorry,
Okay,
Jocelyn.
we're going to move forward. Thank you. We're going to move forward. We don't have those remarks at this time. We're going to continue to move forward. And so we had remarks from Assemblywoman Jackson, Reynolds Jackson, and we had also Assemblyman Wimberly. So let's give them a round of applause. We really thank them for sharing with us today. At this time, actually, we're going to bring them back up for a Q&A. We did have one question for them, and one question was, schools are a very big source, as you talked about bringing the breakfast program to the school where you were working. Being an educator over 20 years myself, I do know that breakfast programs are very important. Now that we are dealing with the remote learning, do you have any information that you can share on how the food is still getting out to communities? I know for the district where I currently work, we have some ideas and things that we have in place, but I would like for you guys to share. And then if you haven't touched on what we're doing in our district, then I will share with that.
Well, in Patterson, we have food distribution sites. So, I believe it's 3 days a week. They can pick up their breakfast and lunch from their school, usually whatever school that they're attending. And even more importantly, when we do become in-person learning again, we worked with the Department of Agriculture before COVID, where we had hot meals in the evening for the after-school programs. That was a major hit. So kids were getting, chicken teriyaki, lasagna, hot pizza, and it was a big hit. It helped numbers, and it was also nutritious.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're still doing the same here. I'm not sure about the number of days a week, but I know that we're still working with the United Way, the Community Bank of New Jersey, our Trenton area soup kitchen. They're all still, and I believe it's a lot of it's coordinated through the Department of Agriculture as well, to make sure that they give the foods out. And the city of Trenton is also working in conjunction with the school district to make sure that those foods still go out. But it's interesting that you bring it up, because we had to fight for that. Remember, Benji, Assemblyman Wimberly? We had to fight in order to continue to have the food to come. And they didn't really realize it until they saw the long lines of people that were coming out. And the lines haven't gone away. People are still in need. So if you're able to give, please give.
Thank you both so much. I know that in the district where I am an administrator, we have food that we give out to the parents 3 days a week. And those are like bags of groceries, and they're able to come in while their children are at school, or while they're during the school hours. So the children may be at home working remotely. We provide bags of groceries for them 3 days a week, where they're able to go home and have those foods in between time. And then we'll do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so then they'll have something to carry them through the weekend as well. And even when I was school principal, we did that same. We actually had a relationship with a food bank, because I understood the importance of having those well-rounded meals to keep those children through the weekend, and those healthy snacks. And so again, we really appreciate you guys for coming on today, sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. We are excited about the fact that people now know to reach out to you, so they can continue to stay connected and get involved, because we want to do everything we can to move forward with reducing the food insecurities in our communities and among our constituents. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you. We love you, and continue to do the great work that you're doing for our people in our communities.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at this time, we're going to have our presentation from our very own Soror. And so I'll begin by reading her bio and sharing some information with you to bring Dr. Sharice Breeden-Balan forward. Dr. Sharice Breeden-Balan is the founder and CEO of The Road of the Hood, which is a consulting company that assists individuals working towards a doctoral degree by providing mentorship and coaching to help students get finished with their EDDs or their PhDs. Sharice earned an EDD in Community College Leadership from the National American University. Her dissertation was Assessing Student Food Insecurity Levels at an Urban Community College. The abstract of Dr. Balam's dissertation was a mixed methods research study where she explored food insecurity at an urban 2-year community college in Passaic, New Jersey. Sharice is a licensed social worker that earned an MSW from Rutgers University and a BS in sociology from Thomas Edison State College. She is a member and leader of several international, national, and New Jersey organizations. Just a few of Sharice's membership include Essex County chapter of National Association of Black Women Social Workers, Mercer County unit of the National Council of Negro Women, which she is a current member, the National Association of Social Workers, the NASPA Center for Women Board Advisory, and a member of our very illustrious sisterhood, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. In addition, Sharice is an accomplished professional speaker who has given presentations at several conferences, including Black Doctoral Network Students, the National Council of Black American Affairs, and Rutgers University. Her speaking topics include, but are not limited to, the Mental Health Burrito Bowl, special education empowerment, valuing our adjuncts, and food insecurities among college students. Sharice continues to make herself available as a professional speaker, even during these unprecedented times of the COVID-19 epidemic. Sharice is a leader who believes that education is the only way to move the country forward. Sharice is governed by, quote, by Dorothy Height, noted, "I want to be remembered as one who tried." At this time, we bring to the forefront of our Zoom presentation, Dr. Sharice Breeden-Balan, my soror. Ooh. Welcome, Dr. Balan.
Hello, everyone. I'm truly excited and honored to be in this space and talk about something that is truly my passion and my commitment. I am the voice of the voiceless. My dissertation, Assemblyman Wembley, was at Passaic County Community College, where I did a mixed method pertaining to EOF students right there at Passaic County Community College. So I am humbled and honored to be in this space. So I did provide some slides because I just wanted to add some content to this topic, because again, I think it's important for all of us to understand and know that this topic pertains to everyone. Being a social worker and a licensed social worker, I wanted to marry the two of me obtaining my doctorate and me being a social worker to really, really push the agenda forward. So my presentation speaks about Too Hungry to Learn. And when I created the topic, I thought about community college students. As we know, community college students are students that are non-traditional students that may have not been able to be accepted into a 4-year university. It may be someone who lost their job and now wants to come back to college to obtain some credentials and some degrees. And right now in New Jersey, community college is free. So we definitely want to push that agenda forward so that more and more people can obtain an associate's degree. So I want to speak about this particular topic this particular population, but I also want to give us some content. Next slide, please. So when we talk about food insecurities, there is two levels. We have food insecurities and food securities. I don't believe in reading slides. I think we're all good in that space. However, but when we speak about food insecurities, it talks about the reduced in quality, a variety of desirable diet, little or no indication of reduced intake. Then we talk about very low food insecurity. It reports of multiple indications of disrupted eating patterns and reduced food intake. So there is a difference between food insecurities versus food securities. So people who have food securities, they really do not have an issue with obtaining food, obtaining nutritious food. They are okay with going to Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, wherever they may want to go to obtain groceries. Next slide, please. When we talk about food insecurities, I wanted to make sure that we understand that there are levels to food insecurities. It is not just a blanket term. And food insecurities the term has been around since 1930. So this is not anything new. COVID has, as Assemblyman Wimberly stated, it has truly ripped the Band-Aid off. So we know that people are really having a hard time. When we look at food insecurities, we need to know the level. So we have mild, moderate, and severe. And again, this is done, basically, no one is doing these things because they're trying to diet, they're trying to fast. No, these issues are happening because there is a lack of food within their households. Next slide, please. So this is data that is very recent. 80.7% of American households state that they are food secure, meaning they good. You know, they're not struggling, they're fine. However, there are another 20% of people in United States that are struggling. And as you can see with the diagram that is here, no one is exempt. Right? We see single women with children, we seeing single men with children, and importantly, we're seeing our seniors. So again, no one is exempt from experiencing some level of food insecurities. Next slide, please. So my study, for my dissertation topic, I looked at food insecurity as it pertained to community college students. That is where the gap in the literature was. When there is plenty of studies regarding food insecurities as it pertains to college students, but that community college base, there was very little. So based on this slide right here, you see that there were studies done. And the reason why I put this up is because in 2015, this situation was occurring. So in 2015, prior to the pandemic, community college students was struggling with food insecurity. So this is nothing new. Okay, unfortunately, it's a continuation. So again, we are in 2022 now. And this study was done in 2015, and we still are seeing large numbers of community college students that are struggling to meet their basic needs. We could move on because I want to make sure I have time for questions. So my study was done, again, like I said, at Passaic County Community College. And what I looked at was our EOF students, the Education Opportunity Fund students. So I looked at students that were there between 2017 and 2018, currently enrolled as full-time students on the main campus, a recipient of Pell Grant. And the reason why I looked at that is because that Pell Grant allowed a lot of students to receive what's so-called a full financial package, okay? And students that received a Pell Grant, when they applied for college and for financial aid in K through 12, if they received free or reduced lunch, they automatically received a Pell Grant. So I looked at 196 students that was within this criteria. Next slide, please. So what's happening here, right? We have all these students. I see that a lot of our students are food insecure. Based on the 196 students, there were about 80% of those students from that 196 that had some form of food insecurity. So based on that, I submitted a survey asking for participants. From that 190 participants, it dwindled down to 150. From that 150, I sent out 120 surveys pertaining to students who on the outside appear to be very low or either low or a part of any level of food insecurities. From that, I was able to interview about 27 students. From that 27 students, over 90% of them had some level of food insecurities. And the basis of me doing a mixed method is because I wanted to actually speak with the students and find out, you know, what their intake or what their perception of food insecurity looked like. The majority of them did not know they was food insecure. A large number of the students that I interviewed reported that they were taking developmental courses and that they were on campus 3, sometimes 4 days a week. And that because they were on campus daily, they did not have the monies to pay for food. So what they would do is I had one of the participants reported of Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson talked about eating a honey bun, literally would come to school on those 3 days and eat a honey bun and put cheddar cheese on it, heat it up in the cafeteria, and would literally graze on that throughout the day until she could go home. I had another participant who stated that she would drink lemon water because she believed that it was an appetite suppressant. One of the other participants I spoke with stated that although she was on campus 3 days a week, she would actually go to the bodega in her community, in her neighborhood, because she was able to buy fried chicken, 3 pieces for $2. So what they did was at the bodega, they gave her a leg and a thigh, and they cut the thigh in half in order to give her 3 pieces for the $2. And she in turn gave 2 pieces to her daughter, and she only ate 1 piece. So again, young people, and these were not 18, 19 years olds. The people that I surveyed was 18. The oldest participant I had was 49 years old. So again, when we talk about community college, we have to remind ourselves that community college is about our traditional as well as our non-traditional students. So when we talk about what the problem is, I want to talk about some solutions. So on this slide, it talks about what some solutions are. At the community college level, there is no meal plans. At the 4-year colleges, you know, you have to get a meal plan. You go to the cafeteria, you swipe. Not at community colleges. And again, the population of students that are at the community college have received free and or reduced lunch from kindergarten through 12th grade. Now we put them on a community college campus and we tell them to kind of fend for themselves. There is no conversation or talks about how you are going to feed yourself. The other piece to that is most community college students take developmental courses. Those developmental courses come with a lab as well as coursework. So you may have a class 0100 where you're meeting with the professor 2 days a week, but that third day you are mandated to do a tutoring session. So again, we have students on campus all day and really are not able to take care of themselves. So these are some ways of combating hunger on campus. One of the main things I must say, and I keep saying it over and over, a lot of students that are on the community college campus are SNAP recipients. However, because food on college campuses is prepared food, they're not able to use their SNAP benefits, and the college is not set up for them to receive SNAP benefits. Ensuring all staff provide information about services. There are municipalities that do food stamp applications that have mobile buses. Why not bring them to the community colleges and allow for people to apply for SNAP benefits between classes? Why have them take a whole day from school to apply for benefits? Even though now we're online, it's still more cumbersome even online than it is even in person, because again, there is a lot of red tape that has to be done in order for students to receive SNAP. Talking about this situation in student orientation, one of the young people I spoke with during my survey, she stated that the reason why she did not go to the food pantry is because it was in her neighborhood and people she knew worked there. And she did not want people knowing that she needed food from the food pantry. So we have that situation. One of the suggestions is providing meal swipes or block plans, meaning allowing for Pell students that are receiving a full financial aid packet to ensure that at least $500 is given to them for meals per semester. During my research, I interviewed a young person who stated that they would use their refund or whatever money was left on their voucher, their book voucher, to buy food from the bookstore. The participant told me that a bottle of soda at the bookstore at Passaic County Community College was $2.75. A bag of potato chips, $1.25. That is so astronomical that the bookstore would charge that much money for a soda and a bag of chips. And the sad thing is that because this student still had money on their book voucher and they wasn't going to get the money back, they just spent it on frivolous things. She told me that a granola bar was $2.95 for a little granola bar where you could buy almost a pack of them for the same price. So again, we definitely have to revisit these things. The last thing is in regards to food pantries. People say, oh, there's a food pantry, you can go there. Number one is a stigma attached to going to request services and request food. Number two, a lot of the food pantries that are on campus is not conducive for the students. So there could be a food pantry on campus, but it's only open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 to 12. But if I'm a non-traditional student or a student that works and I don't come to campus until 5 o'clock, I could never participate or accept or get anything from that food pantry because it's not open when I need for it to be open. Next slide. I think that's it for me. Yes. So again, I just really wanted to provide some content information around this topic. And again, to allow people to understand that this is not just a catchphrase. People are truly, truly, truly suffering from some level of food insecurities. My research was particularly to community college students. However, there is data, there is writings that speak about this topic and how it's affected everyone in not only in COVID, but it was affecting people prior to COVID. So that concludes my slide. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask because I am available. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Balam. That was a wealth of information talking about news we can use. As you shared with us, you gave us all the opportunity to see that your dissertation has legs. And when I say that, I mean that your study can continue to go on, and grow on. And so you talked about the solutions. Has there been any work done to date to ensure these recommendations are put into actions at Passaic or any other community college in the area or around the country? Because it's truly information and resources that the students would benefit from. And so I'm certain you have a plan. So please share with us.
So Assemblyman Benjamin and Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson, Assemblyman Wembley, I noted one of your legislations in my dissertation when it spoke about allowing for colleges to have some type of mechanism to address this topic. Unfortunately, that is not happening. There are 19 community colleges in the state of New Jersey. Every single county in the state of New Jersey, there is a community college, every single college. And unfortunately, what we're looking at is administrators just kind of plopping a food pantry on the campus and just saying, oh, we're addressing food insecurities. But as you can see, that is definitely not, that is not it. Food insecurity is a systemic issue, and there are ways to combat it. We have new income levels regarding food stamps, regarding SNAP. However, people are not made aware of that. You have college students who are doing internships or work studies. They're eligible for SNAP. However, no one has allowed them or told them that they can obtain these benefits. So again, Dr. Johnson, we have to be relentless in our pursuits. And I'm grateful to our chapter for speaking about this topic because again, this is affecting everyone. And we're not even speaking about the students that come at the community college that have an IEP and are now community college students. Who is helping those young people, right? Who are helping them navigate these waters? So again, yes, you're right. There is a lot of research still to be done. I'm about to repeat my study now because I want to know how has food insecurities, what is happening now when we talk about mental health, okay?
Right.
Because again, when you can't eat, that raises your anxiety, that raises your depression. We talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like, how can you move to the next level if you don't know how you're going to take care of yourself?
Dr. Balam, we are so grateful to you today for coming and sharing with us this information that is so very important. And I'm glad to know that one of your businesses allows you to assist people who are working on their doctorate degrees. And so you can encourage them to replicate the study, because as you said, the information is definitely one that we need to move forward and go forward with and grow forward with. And so when the replication is completed, the study will get have an opportunity to be dug down deeper, do a deep dive. And so to ensure that the children are improving their opportunities for having food security, not just the students, not the children and young adults, but as you said, the traditional and non-traditional community college individuals range in age. And so I think it's a phenomenal opportunity to encourage, support, and continue to empower. Did you have anything that you wanted to share? Our chat for the body has not been enabled. And so we only have a few people that can ask questions. And the one question that did come forth was the one about how can we ensure that these resources that you talked about are continuing to go and grow?
Two things I want to speak about. When we talk about food deserts, Assemblywoman Reynolds was speaking about that. we have a lot of food deserts, meaning there are a lot of small stores that do not sell a plethora of fresh fruits, right? We have a lot of organizations or things where people, or farmers markets. Let's talk about even
The
farmers
city of
markets. or
Trenton is a
community-
food desert. We don't
and then-
really have a supermarket. And I'm telling you, the one that is in the city of Trenton, the prices are like the one you talked about, too high. So yes, continue, please.
So a couple of things. One, I think that we need to educate ourselves and our communities on how to prepare foods, okay? When people go to farmers markets and they're giving away spaghetti squash, zucchini, people of color don't know how to cook those things because they haven't been taught and they haven't seen it.
They have been
And
exposed, yes.
they have
You're
not
right.
been exposed to it, right? So a lot of
We have
people
somebody
of
that's gonna share
color,
some more of that today, but keep going.
a lot of people of color are not young people, these millennials or Generation X, whatever title you want to call them. They have no idea what that looks like because it doesn't come frozen, it doesn't come in a can, right? So you take them to a farmer's market and you say, here, take all of this. And they like, I don't want that. I don't want a butternut squash. I don't want a zucchini because they
Or
don't,
eggplant.
or most definitely they don't want an eggplant. And don't let the eggplant be white. Oh my gosh, then it becomes a whole, another situation. So I think that we need to go back to scratch and go back to home ec, go back to shop, and really teach people about food. And when we talk about community college, right now, community college is free for anyone whose income is, I believe, and Assemblyman and Assemblywoman, please correct me. I believe the income level is $60,000 or $65,000. We could go back to school and obtain certificates as well as associate's degrees, right? But at the same time, most community colleges have an allied health component. Why not have the nursing students, the radiography students, anyone in that health field, as a part of them graduating, do some field work where they talk to people about nutrition and how to make zucchini, how to make eggplant. And you're right, Dr. Johnson, and it's not about making eggplant parmesan, right? Because then you add in all this other stuff on there, right? Let's just talk about other ways to, to make it. So again, I believe that although it's systemic, but I truly believe that we can, as a society, move the pendulum forward. And I'm grateful to our assembly people that are online now that understand the importance of food insecurities, as well as our chapter, to understand that this affects everyone. It doesn't just affect Black and brown people. There are Caucasian people on lines now to receive food, right? And
Right.
again, we can't eliminate, we cannot not educate society about, what is happening. And the community colleges is truly at a pivotal stage where those people that are at community college can truly, truly shift the dynamics for the next generation.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you a million times, Soror, because that information was very good. Do you have, I think this next presenter is going to be able to answer a question that just came in the chat. And if not, we're going to come back because I think at the end, we're going to bring everybody back so we can have as much of a roundtable discussion as possible. So again, we appreciate you so much for sharing your expertise in the field of insecurity amongst college students. We really appreciate you. And we thank you for continuing to move forward as we continue to address this topic in our community. Thank you, Soror. Thank you so much.
Dr. Johnson,
Yes.
this is the tech. Questions can be posted in the chat and they can direct them to you, the moderator. So the attendees direct any questions that you have to Dr. Johnson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, fantastic. We are moving right along. And now we have our next presenter, Ms. Snow. Oh, wait a minute. I might be moving a little bit too fast. Yes, that's who we have. We have Miss Snow. And let me give you a little bit about Miss Snow. Okay, I was moving too fast. We have Mr. Cacase at this time. Let me give you a little bit of information about Mr. Cacase. Mr. James Cacase is currently the Assistant Administrator for Social Services. He is a graduate of Stockton State University or Stockton State College, it might have been when he was there. He has been employed with the Mercer County Board of Social Services for 30 years. First as a social worker, then promoted to social work supervisor for social services intake, then to emergency assistant supervisor, and now to assistant social services administrator. Mr. Cacase is the proud husband of Melissa Cacase and the father of their son, Anthony. Thank you so much, Mr. Cacase, for coming on and joining us today. We are glad to have you. You are going to share with us some resources that are available in our community as it relates to food insecurity. And so at this time, please share with us.
Sure. Thanks again for having me. I appreciate the invitation. Happy Martin Luther King's Day to everyone.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that I've committed myself to 30 years of service at the Mercer County Board of Social Services. Say that I'm proud to be an employee at, and just I see faces, scan through the different pages, and it's individuals that I have worked with in the past that I'm proud to say that I worked with. I see individuals that I continue to work with at this time. Again, I appreciate the ability to be here today with you all. So just, I did get in touch with one of our assistant administrators downstairs in our income maintenance department just to get some quick numbers as far as what our agency has seen through this pandemic and how we're moving forward at the agency. In November of 2021, there were approximately 455,000 households statewide that received New Jersey SNAP benefits. The number of New Jersey SNAP households increased 59,000, where that's 14.5% since November of 2020. There were 893,000 persons receiving New Jersey SNAP benefits as of November of 2021, which was an increase of 107,000 or 13.6% since November of 2020. When we talk about Mercer County had 10,080 approximate SNAP applications from January 2021 to December. As of November 2021, our SNAP total households are 19,880, which was an increase of 13.4
In a year?
In a year.
Wow. Just
Since
let me
November
pause
of
here.
2020.
Let me just take a pause here. I want everyone to know that we just put information in the chat for the SNAP resources, how to apply. And then also everyone, please make certain that you are completing the survey. So there's information in the chat on how to apply for social. SNAP stands for Supplemental
Nutritional
Nutrition
Assistance
Program. Okay, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. That information is in the chat with addition to the survey. So please make certain that you are going to the chat and availing yourself of both of those topics. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Cacase. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So we see approximately about 850 applications a month.
Wow.
Our director, Jeffrey Maskell, he has made it abundantly clear that we are considered essential employees to ensure the fact that those individuals applying for those benefits get those benefits timely, because he understands the importance of individuals that don't have the ability to purchase food, especially when it comes to food insecurity. When you look at the statistic on food insecurity, Mercer County, as of September of last year, was ranked number 11 amongst the 21 counties.
Wow.
So food insecurity rate of 18.2 or 30,210 total. With that number, we're still 24.8% lower than the national average. That tells you how many people are food insecure in the nation. 30.8% lower than the national average for children, where the child food insecurity rate was at 10.1 or 7,980. And our annual food budget shortfall only a bleak $18 million.
Mhm.
So when you look at a cost of an average meal here, Mercer County states that it's $3.59. I'm not sure where they got that number from, but that's hard to do. So what we do is we ensure the fact that we provide food resources to individuals that do request where they can go, how they can get food. Now, I did send Narvis a couple of links for everyone. I spoke to a gentleman by the name of Matthew Broad, Trenton Health Team, and every year they put out a whole list of Trenton area free food resources. This free food resource list shows all the Trenton public schools. It shows all the different agencies that provide food. And not only that, but it tells you the distribution times, the requirements, gives you the address, phone number, and hour. Very good resource. The other resource I provided was our Mercer County Food Resource Guide. That food resource guide actually shows the different, I want to say there's 7 farms that are on there that accept EBT in Mercer County, which is, I believe, a good resource as far as getting the food, the nutritional food someone needs.
So thank you so much. Those resources are very valuable. How can college students, we did have a question in the chat, how can college students apply for supplemental nutritional assistance program?
Right now, they can go to our mercercounty.org website. Every county has their Board of Social Services. We're a Board of Social Services.
Right.
Let me rephrase that. There are some that are social service. We're governed by a board. We're one of a few that are governed by a board. They would go to that website. There are links that could take them to the application process, tell them the requirements, and they would be able to apply right online. And I
So
did hear, and I
they
did
go to the website. So the first step is to go to the website, and that website is whichever county they live in.
correct.
And so the website in Mercer County is mercercounty.org.
It's MCBOSS, Mercer County Board of Social Services, the
.com or .org.
.org.
.org. They go there. So they pull up that website, and then the first thing they do is to complete the demographic information.
You'll see the food, you'll see the application assistance block. And you could apply for not only SNAP benefits, but Medicaid, TANF, which is welfare benefit for families, or general welfare benefits.
Okay, and so once they complete that application, then what's the process after that?
That application will come into the agency. It will get pulled off of the website.
Okay.
It will go through our case bank, be assigned a worker, and process. And that's
So
when
so now say I have decided to apply for Mercer County Board of Social Services SNAP benefits. I have completed my application. I got the email after I completed it saying that I was completed. What would be the next step, and what is the turnaround time when you talk about from the time that I have completed my application to the time that I have my SNAP card in my hand and now I'm able to go to the supermarket and go shopping? On average, Mr. Cacase, what is the turnaround time for that process?
within 30 days.
So
That
within
is-
30 days. Okay, within 30 days. So great, thank you so much. So our audience today knows that on average, it's within 30 days. Now, is that the typical time? And what's the longest period of time that process?
It's
has happened?
usually shorter than that, and it has been shorter than, because our director has been ensuring that it's shorter than that.
Okay, so you're saying
We,
that,
we just got a new administrative supervisor of income maintenance. His name is Scott Thompson. And
okay,
he works very hard with his two assistants to ensure that people get their benefits timely.
so now say I have a need and I don't have a computer. I don't have a computer at home. Is there another opportunity for me to apply other than having a computer at home? That was another question from one of our participants today. Rose asked that question. What can I do to get services if I don't have a computer at home?
You could proceed to one of the local libraries and use the computer there. You could also go, like if there is someone that went to the Trenton area soup kitchen, they could get assistance with applying from there.
Right, and I'm
Some-
glad you
some
said
of
the
their-
soup kitchens, because with COVID, a lot of the libraries have been closed down. And so I'm glad you said the soup kitchens, because I know that they're still operating regardless.
Correct, and so is the Rescue Mission of Greater Trenton. And the Rescue Mission has done also.
And the rescue mission also has a homeless shelter, and so that's definitely a place where you can go.
That's correct.
Okay, so I have another question. If a student is applying for benefits, this person is saying that within 30 days, they will get SNAP benefits, right? You're saying sometimes it's taking shorter than 30 days, but now if you have some glitches in the system, what's the longest period of time it could take?
To be honest with you, I know the answer.
And so suppose I live in New York, but I am a college student in New Jersey. And I am here 10 months of the 12 in a year. Where would I go to apply? And if I'm in New Jersey, would I be able to get those benefits being that my permanent residence is in New York?
That's another question that would have to go through our income maintenance department. I'm the assistant administrator of social services. I deal with all the food resources and things like that.
Okay,
As far as applications, I do not process the applications.
okay, all right.
That
So
is
now,
Mr.
did you have a
Thompson is
Mr. Thompson? And okay, so Mr. Thompson would be the person that could answer that question for us. If you don't mind, Mr. Case, we will continue to communicate with our constituents that are here today. And so if you could just get back, you could probably just share the answer with Narvis, because she works in your office, and so she could bring it back to us and we could share it with our population, because we definitely want to make certain that we are getting these questions answered, because it's real.
Yes, it is. You know, one of the other things that I did hear earlier was getting the information to college students, community college campus. I know when you become a community college student, you meet with a person to go through and get your schedule together.
All right.
I think maybe one of the things we could do is outreach to different community colleges, have the preceptors given information to provide to students as far as not just SNAP benefits, but any kind of benefit. That when they do leave the community college, they do have some resources to fall back on if needed. I mean, when community college, I don't know of any community college that has housing, but even as far as housing assistance and things like that, to give individuals the ability to have these resources provided to them at that time, I think that would be a good outreach.
I like that idea. That's a good idea. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us before we move to our next segment?
That was it. Thank you so much.
We
for
are
having
really
me
super
again.
excited that you have come on today and share with us, and gave us some resources in our community that we can make certain that the people know and have and be able to use. And looking forward to getting that answer to our question from Mr. Thompson. And again, Mr. Case, we just really appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and share with us today some of your knowledge that you have gained over the years, over the 30 years that you have been with the Mercer County Board of Social Services. Continue to have a successful career, and please don't be a stranger. If we call on you next year, we decide to do this segment again, we would be glad to have you join us. So thank you so much for coming out today.
Absolutely. My privilege.
Thank you. Thank you. We had a wonderful presentation by Mr. Cacase. At this time, we're going to give you some nutritional information because we don't want you to feel like you got a lot of information today and now where can you get with the hands on? We are a grassroots kind of sorority. We make certain that we don't just give you surface information, we give you news that you can use and help you to grow and build in your lives daily. And so at this time, we have Ms. Snow coming forward. Ms. Snow is currently the Assistant Director on the Stewart Fund and Alumni Engagement Program, where she plays a critical role in building Stewart Country Day schools, philanthropic, and engagement opportunities. Ms. Snow recently transitioned to that position from a Rutgers Cooperative Extension of Mercer County, which is known as the RCE, where she served as a 4-H program associate since 2008. Before that, she was a nutrition educator for RCE since 2004. In her role as a 4-H program associate, she taught life skills, which included healthy living and nutrition education for youth. She holds an Associate of Fine Arts degree from Mercer County Community College, a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from Rider University, and an MBA from Rutgers University. So at this time, we have coming to the forefront of our Zoom, Miss Snow. Thank you, Miss Snow, for coming on and joining us today. We are super excited to have you here, and we're looking to get some information about some healthy eating. So let's go.
Thank you so much for having me today. I was a nutrition educator for SNAP Ed, for the SNAP Ed program, so I'm very familiar with that program. As well as in my bio, it didn't state that I studied to be a registered dietitian for 3 years, and I stopped right before I was able to do my clinical because I wasn't able to work full-time and do that, so I didn't complete that. But
Miss Snow, I know that process very well. I have a sister who did the exact same thing. She did all the coursework, and when it came time for her internship, she wasn't able to go for it. And I think that's really something that needs to be revisited when it comes to the way that program is designed, because it's not realistic. Most people who are going through that program have a life.
yes,
and they have to
very
feed
much
their
so.
families, and they have to work. And so you have to do a 40-hour for a year, isn't it? That you have to do that
Yes.
40-hour internship.
It depends on what program you're in, but usually it is for a whole year.
For a whole year. And then, you know, and it's so unfortunate because most people that look like you and I don't have that luxury of doing a full-time 1-year internship in order to become registered dietitians. However, they have all the information and they're knowledgeable. That's just something that probably needs to be revisited. But I digress. But when you
But you
said that, it
absolutely
really
get it.
made me decide to
Yes.
chime in because I do know that situation personally. Thank you
Yes.
so much for sharing that. So come
You're
on, give us
welcome.
some information about some healthy eating on a budget.
Yes. So what I'm going to do is actually share my screen. So I was asked to speak about reading nutrition labels as well as preparing your fruits and vegetables to get the optimal amount of nutrition from it. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. So as an educator for 4-H for so long, I was an educator for 13 and a half years for 4-H. So I am used to interacting with my audience. So I am going to ask you guys to think of some questions, or I'm going to ask you questions and I want you to think of the answers. If you have the ability to type it in the chat, the answer in the chat, then please do so. But if you do not have the ability, I will be going over those answers with you as well. So you can just think of it on your own and see whether or not you were right in those questions. So
No,
yes.
excuse me, this is Regina the tech. They can direct any answers or to your questions directly to you, Miss Snow. They have that ability to send it
Okay.
directly to you.
Okay,
So-
fantastic.
So the audience, please send it directly to Miss Snow. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So this session is going to be called Label Me Healthy and Getting the Most Out of Your Fruits and Vegetables. So let's figure out how to read this food label that is displayed here. So with our nutrition facts, I'm going to be asking you some questions so that we can kind of figure it out. I am from the background. If anybody's familiar with 4-H, our motto is learn by doing. So I feel like you learn best when you do it yourself. So this session will kind of be interactive. All right, so looking at our nutrition facts label, hold on one second, let me move my bar down so that you guys can see it. What is the serving size here? So what is the individual serving size for this container? You can type it in the chat, the answer to that question. I don't see any answers, just 1 cup. Yes, very good. It is 1 cup. That is the serving size for this particular nutrition facts label. How many servings are there in this container? 2. There are 2 servings per container. If you can see my cursor up here, there are 2 servings per container. And now, how many calories are there per serving? Not per container, per serving. 220. Nice job. So you guys can't see the answers that are coming in mind, but it is 220 calories per serving. However, like say sometimes some people may eat a whole bag of potato chips, right? If they eat a whole bag of potato chips, then they are consuming the entire container and they don't realize that they're consuming 440 calories as opposed to the serving that they didn't measure out. They were just probably eating out of the bag. That would be 220 servings. However, if you ate the entire container, you would be consuming 440 calories, which is double what you probably anticipated on doing. Now, how many grams of total fat are there per serving? Total fat per serving. 5. So there's 5 grams. So we all, sometimes in our nutrition facts labels, as you can see, like some things are measured in milligrams, which is smaller than an actual gram. This right here for total fat is in grams. So that's way more than milligrams. So be conscious of that. So I apologize, I didn't correct this, but it should have been 5 grams. And the saturated fat is animal-based fat, which is this right here. And then there's trans fat. That is like manufactured fat. So it's hydrogen into liquid vegetable oils. So you want to stay away from trans fat. You don't want to consume too many animal fats because that contributes to your cholesterol levels. So what do the percentages mean? I'm going to answer that question just because it's kind of hard to define it. So the percent, the daily value, shows how much a nutrient is in a serving of food, and it contributes to a total of your daily diet. So most of our nutrition facts labels in the US are based off of a 2,000 calorie diet. Now you need to determine, you would probably need to determine how many calories you need to consume. I wouldn't say consume less than 1,200 calories a day because you go into starvation mode, unless you're under a doctor's care and you have been speaking to them about your calorie consumption. And then if you are on a 2,000 calorie diet, that's usually about the midway, but that's really for active people. If you have a sedentary diet, you definitely want to consume less than 2,000 calories a day. So if you're sitting all day long, then you do not want to go up to 2,000 calories because that's usually for growing children or like young adults. And sometimes it's really tailored towards men as well. So if you are a woman and you have a sedentary lifestyle, then you don't want to consume up to 2,000 calories per day. We want percentages of 10% or more in the following categories. Dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is very important because that is how you eliminate your waste. So fiber, it goes right through you and helps you to be able to push out your waste. Protein. Protein, we don't want to consume too much protein unless you're trying to build muscle. So your body still needs to be able to break those things down. I know there's protein shakes and all kinds of protein supplements and things of that nature. And I think as Americans, being that we do, a lot of us are not vegetarians or not vegans. So we're consuming a lot of protein in our regular diets. 9 times out of 10, we don't need to add the protein shakes because we're already consuming enough meat. That's where you get your protein from. Not unless I said you're trying to build muscle. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is important. Vitamin D is best absorbed from the sun. A lot of Americans are vitamin D deficient. And when you don't have enough vitamin D in your body, then your other, your organs don't work as well as they should, because there's not enough vitamin D, and vitamin D couples with a lot of the other vitamins to be able to have your body work effectively. Calcium. Calcium is for strong bones and strong teeth. So that is very important. A lot of people don't know is that after your teenage years, there's no more deposits going into your body of calcium. You can only keep your levels up. So like after like 18 to 20, like that's when your body stops really absorbing the calcium into your bones. So you need to keep your calcium levels up. A lot of people, as they get older, their bones get brittle, they break because they don't have enough calcium levels. So if you're raising a child, or if you know children, make sure that they're getting enough calcium in their diet on a daily basis. You don't have to just consume calcium through like eating milk and dairy products. A lot of people don't know that a lot of dark green leafy vegetables have calcium in it as well. There's also fortified foods, fortified cereals, and also the bones inside, like say if you eat canned salmon, if you like salmon cakes, those bones contain calcium as well. So there's other ways to be able to get your calcium too. Also, iron, we want iron to be higher. A lot of people are anemic within our neighborhoods. It is very important that you get enough iron into your system so that your blood is working properly and it's flowing properly and giving you enough oxygen to be able to have your muscles and move how they're supposed to. And potassium. Potassium is very important. A lot of people have heard of Charlie horses. So Charlie horses happen when you don't have enough potassium in your body. So making sure that you're getting those as well. Percentages less than 10%, that you want to keep it to less than 10%. Fat, saturated and trans fats. Cholesterol, you want to keep those levels to less than 10%. Sodium levels less than 10%. A lot of times we're consuming way too much sodium, which contributes to our high blood pressure. So be sure that you are reading your levels and you're keeping your levels low, under 10% for those at the bottom and above 10% if possible, the most that you can get when you can get those nutrients in your system. So there are exceptions to this rule. So fat, monounsaturated fat, plant-based fats, those are very important for you to have into your diet. So those are things like eating nuts. Also, when we have our peanut butter, so lots of times when you see people making protein shakes and things of that nature, they add peanut butter to be part of their program, their protein. Also sunflower seeds, those are plant-based. So those fats are really good fats for you to have in your diet. A lot of people will find out that like guacamole, because it's made from avocado, it has a higher fat level in it, but those are good fats that you do want to consume. Carbohydrates, sometimes it depends on what you're trying to attain or what your goal is. Carbohydrates, if you want to have higher energy levels. Like athletes, they do need to consume carbohydrates, but people who are not athletes don't need to consume as many as we do. So a lot of people eat a lot of breads, pastas, those kind of things. Those kind of things, it really depends on what your fitness level is as to whether or not you want to consume a higher amount of carbohydrates or lower amounts of carbohydrates. And natural sugars. Natural sugars are a different story than you eating added sugars. Natural sugars come from things like your fruits. You want to consume those natural sugars, but you don't want to go overboard. So you're supposed to have about 2 fruits a day. And you want to consume, if you're going to consume sugar, you want to consume it naturally as opposed to consuming it through added sugars. So I want us to take a look at this nutrition facts label, and we're going to break it down, and I'm going to ask you some more questions. So what is the first ingredient in this nutrition facts label? What is the first ingredient? Sugar. So when there is something that is the first ingredient inside of a nutrition facts label, that means that that is the highest ingredient in that food. So this is highest in sugar. So this probably is something that you want to steer away from. And then the next highest is non-fat milk and so forth. So it goes according to what is the most that's in that particular food. So sugar, like I said, is the highest ingredient in this food. So you want to try to limit your ingredients to 10 or less in order for it to be a healthy nutrition. Now, I mean, there are some things like I eat kashi fruit and nut bars all the time. They have way more than 10 ingredients, but you got to be mindful as to what those ingredients are. So by looking at this ingredients and nutrition facts label, is this a healthy option? Positives with this nutrition facts label: 110 calories, only 10 comes from the fat. So we're looking at the fat. So it has 110 calories, but only 10 of it comes from fat, which is a good thing. Saturated fat, it only has 2%. So it's less than our 10%. Cholesterol, it is 0%. So it's less than our 10%. And our sodium is 6%, which is less than our 10%. Now, negatives, which is quite a bit. Let me see if I can move my bar over so that you guys can see it a little bit better. All right, dietary fiber. It's only 3%. We want to consume foods that have higher amounts of dietary fiber. Sugars, 19 grams. That's, I mean, like if you look at most of the things that we consume is way more than 19 grams. However, 19 grams is still a lot. Protein, there's only 2 grams. So if you're trying to, like I said, build muscle or you're working out and those kind of things, you want to consume more than 2 grams. There's no vitamin D, there's no calcium, there's no iron, and there's no potassium in this particular food label. Also, there is more than 10 ingredients, and the first ingredient is sugar. I'm going to take a moment to pause for a moment because I see that there's some things in the chat and I'll try to answer some questions. Okay.
I do have a list of questions too. And so
So should we just wait till the end? Oh, should we just wait till the end to answer the questions?
The ones that's in the chat. Let me answer these that I have on my list first, and then we'll go back to the ones in the chat. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, great. So when reading nutrition facts labels, what is the key information to look for to determine if the item is a healthy choice? When reading the nutrition facts, what is the key information to look for to determine if the item is a healthy choice? You have answered some of this, but I just wanted to answer this question.
So again, looking to see if those items that I had listed, making sure that there's vitamin D, calcium, iron, potassium, dietary fiber, making sure that you're not getting a lot of your fat from saturated fat. Seeing if it has potassium in it as well is very important. Looking to make sure that you try to limit the amount of ingredients, and also looking to see if you can recognize the names of those ingredients. lots of times we're eating some things that we're like, it's more chemicals than it is actual food. And so making sure that you know what it is that you're actually consuming, looking to see what the first ingredient is. Lots of times we'll go over this in a few seconds. We'll have lots of our starches, our carbohydrates that we typically get from breads and pastas and things of that nature. When we're looking, we want to make sure that it's a whole grain as opposed to an enriched wheat flour. Enriched wheat flour means that they stripped it of everything that it was good, and they went and they got the center of it that has no nutrients in it, and that's what they manufactured the food out of. When you are having whole grains, that is way better for you because it has all the nutrients still intact for you. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, it did. Thank you so much. Next question is, what is the difference between organic and non-organic, and why does it matter? I know one difference is the cost, but I want to hear some other.
That is very true. It is the cost. However, it's because it is how the soil is actually treated that it's grown into. So I don't know if you ever heard of GMOs. Those are genetically modified ingredients. So basically what happens is that there can be soil that is treated and to grow vegetables faster, to grow fruits faster. And so it is not, or the feed that is being given to an animal, it is not organic. It's not been, it's not the soil that it has been grown in or that it was fed. It's not been fed organic food, meaning that it's not naturally occurring in the earth, basically.
And so why it matters is that you want to make certain that it's as naturally grown in the earth as possible, as opposed to modified.
Right. I'm not going to say as opposed to, because genetically modified food helps to feed masses. And that's the reason why it is so,
prevalent.
And yeah, and it is important because it helps to feed more people. That's the reason why it costs more, because organic food, it takes a longer time to actually grow it. I mean, you're not going to get a watermelon as fast as you would get it if you did it genetically modified. Those, when you are getting organic food, you are getting more of the nutrients that naturally occur in that food. It takes time. It takes time for a seed to be able to grow. And so you're paying for that growth. You're paying for it to actually develop and the nutrients to develop properly and how it's supposed to develop, as opposed to speeding along the process. That's really what you're paying for.
Okay, that was very helpful, because I always go and I wonder why it got to cost so much, but now I know why. Thank you so much for that. So the next question is, what's the difference in sugar and sugar substitutes?
So sugar substitutes are things like sweet and lows. I haven't dealt with sugar substitutes in a while, so I don't even know what the current sugar substitutes are. It depends on whether those are like chemically modified to sweeten your foods, whereas sugar, it's naturally occurring. You can get sugar cane and you can strip that down and make it into to the granules, but whereas those that's not naturally occurring, that's really what the difference is the sweeteners are naturally and are not naturally occurring. They have to go through a chemical process in order to make it sweet.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Is it better to drink fruit juice or eat fruit?
It is better always to eat your whole fruit. We will get into fruits and vegetables a little bit later, but it is way better for you to consume your fruits and vegetables as a whole fruit and vegetable, because the more that you process a fruit or a vegetable, the less the nutrient content, and it breaks down like that. So yes, if you cannot consume fruit, it is better for you to have something. Something is better than nothing. So if you look for 100% juices, as opposed to looking for like high C's. High C's will say 100% vitamin C, but it's not 100% juice.
It's from concentrate.
Yeah, no, it's not even from concentrate. It's pretty much sugar and water, really. So
now we know why the
mindful.
children bounce off the wall when they drink it.
Yep. And so that's when
And
I
now
had
what
said
about
before,
stevia, stevia? That's a sweetener.
it is a sweetener, and it's
Okay.
I'm going to say that I am not well versed in stevia. So
Okay.
I hear that it is a naturally occurring sweetener, but I'm going to say I would have to get back to you with that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not well versed in stevia. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. And now this is a question that we all want to know the answer to, because a lot of people don't like to do this, but we know the importance. We have an idea, but I want to hear it from you. Why should you drink a lot of water each day?
Well, a lot of people don't realize that 2/3 of our body is made up of water. So when you are not consuming enough water, you are not allowing your muscles and your body to be able to work properly. It is the vehicle that has your blood pumping. So it makes everything move how it's supposed to move. It allows you to be able to eliminate the waste that you need to be able to eliminate. You cannot live without water. You are dehydrating yourself. So like you're dehydrating and you're not allowing your kidneys to work properly, your liver to work properly. You're not allowing your body to work how it's supposed to be able to work when you do not drink enough water.
Okay. I think you have more left in your presentation.
I do. So
we're going to let you do that because we don't want to run over time. We really appreciate you. We did have more questions, but we're going to have you come back. So please finish your presentation. Thank you for answering those questions. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. All right. So I'm going to move my bar back down because I don't know. Okay. So really quickly, we're going to look at this nutrition facts label. So this is like oatmeal on this side. It has 150 calories and calories from fat is only 25. They're saturated and their total fat is 4%. So that's a good thing. And then looking at your, you see they have polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. That is plant-based fats. Dietary fiber, as you can see, is 15%, which is excellent. And then your sugars, you only have 1 gram of sugar. You have 5 grams of protein. The only thing that I don't like about this is the fact that it doesn't have any vitamin A, calcium, vitamin C, but it has a high amount of fiber as well. And if you look, the only ingredients in here is rolled oats, which is a whole grain, and it's excellent for you. Now, if you look at here, this is a cup of noodles, right? And you look at the one package, it's 290 calories for 1 cup of noodle. Your total fat is 14%. Your animal fat, your saturated fat is at 25%. Remember, that contributes to heart disease. Sodium, look how high sodium is, 51%. High blood pressure, right there. Dietary fiber, it's doing okay. It has 6% in it. It doesn't have any sugar in it. And it does have some good things. Iron, it has 15%, and potassium is 6%. So, but if you looked at it, enriched flour is not good for you because it has been stripped down from the whole grains that would naturally occur. And then look at all these ingredients. It's way more than 20 ingredients in here, which is not good for you. So if you have high blood pressure, steer away from eating like those couple noodles, those canned soups, those kind of things. All right.
Oatmeal.
Yes, eat oatmeal. All right. So
please
now we're
make certain that you, excuse me, Ms. Snow. Everyone, please make certain that you are completing the survey. We need your feedback. Carry on.
All right, so we're going to transition into fruits and vegetables. 5 kitchen tips to peel and cut your fruits and vegetables the right way for maximum nutrition. Always wash your fruits and vegetables before peeling them. not just to remove the dirt over them, but also to retain the water-soluble vitamins in the vegetables that you may lose if you wash them after peeling. So water-soluble vitamins are vitamins C and all the vitamins that occur in B vitamins as well. So that means that it can come out through your waste and it will just come out every day. That's why they say consume vitamin C every day. Make sure you're consuming it because it comes out in your waste every single time. That travels through your water. Now, vitamins A, D, E, and K, those are fat soluble, so they stay inside of your fat, inside of your body. So they don't come out as easily because they're part of your fat. Whereas your fruits and vegetables, your vitamin C and vitamin B, they come out pretty much every day as you go to the bathroom. Using a sharp blade can minimize the risk of bacteria growth and can also prevent over softening of the vegetables or the fruit. Cutting fruits and veggies with a blunt knife may make them lose some of their nutrients. So using a sharp blade is important. All right, the more finely they are chopped, the faster they get spoiled. They may lose moisture, their natural color, and some amount of ingredient and nutrients. If you plan to cut your fruits and vegetables and store them to be cooked later, try to cut and chop them in bigger pieces. If you shred them, they should be consumed immediately. So the smaller that you cut it, you need to make sure that you consume them sooner than later. If you are storing them for later, cut them in bigger chunks if possible. All right, try to consume vegetables or fruit with the peels on because that's where most of your nutrients are located. You peel them as thinly as close to the skin as possible if you must peel them. This way you'll get the maximum amount of nutrients out of them. So try to do a thin peeling as you see pictured here. All right, now there are some vegetables that have an edible skin and loads of vitamins and minerals. Try to keep your peel on most of them. So if you can eat the peel on a potato, eat it. If you can eat the peel on an apple, eat it. Anytime you can eat the peel, eat it, because that is where you're getting most of your nutrients. Some of these fruits and vegetables are cucumbers, apples, and even potatoes. All right. So,
oh, great, wonderful. I was so excited because we were running out of time.
Yeah,
okay,
I know.
Wonderful.
So I was trying to hurry up.
You did an excellent job. So I'm going to go back to our questions list. I know you have some in the chat. So maybe you could, while I'm answering the questions, you could write some answers in the chat. Okay. You gave us an amazing amount of information. We are so excited about you. This presentation today from start to finish has just been phenomenal.
Thank you.
We are really grateful for our host and our panel participants. From the best to worst choice, why should you consider canned, fresh, or frozen vegetables? Canned, fresh, or frozen vegetables from best to worst choice.
All right, really quickly, fresh is best. And then next is frozen because it's blanched at the, so, they could be actually running neck and neck because when you have frozen fruits and vegetables, they are blanched at their peak of performance. So they have the most vitamins in them. So choose frozen before you choose canned. Canned is probably the last one. They are blanched at theirs, but they're not flash frozen. So they don't preserve as much of the nutrients as possible. But if you don't have access to anything else, canned is just as good.
Okay, fantastic. Can you please stop sharing your screen at this time?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. And then the next question I have is, what foods can you freeze? Dairy products, fresh vegetables, cooked meats, and uncooked meats. And this is really going to be a good question for me because I freeze everything. I cooked it. I don't eat all of it. I don't want to waste it. So I'm freezing it. So that's a fantastic question. What foods can you freeze?
Most foods you can freeze. There is a guide. So I used to work for Rutgers Cooperative Extension, and that is a great organization for you guys to partner with. They can give you a ton of resources about all those nutrition labels and everything. They have question and answer sheet. So if you go to their website, you can find all of those answers and it'll give you a breakdown of what foods are best to freeze and not freeze.
Rutgers Cooperative Extension, you said?
Extension, yeah, I'm going to type it in the chat.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth. It's 4:59. Our time is up, but you have really done a fantastic job, and we are so grateful. I'm gonna tell you, we didn't want to keep people too long, but you've done a phenomenal job. We're really grateful for you. We're grateful for all of our presenters today. We have tried to do our best to share with our audience information, again, news that they could use, criteria that would give them legs to continue to go and grow, and just making certain that we understood the importance of today being a day on and not a day off. We honor Martin Luther King. We thank him for his dream and his vision for our country and our world. And we just, again, we want to say thank you so much. Everyone, please, 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 Miss Snow, we love you. We thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you in the future. I want to share at this time that we do have our upcoming Black History Month program for our chapter. And we want everyone to put that date on the calendar. Can someone share with me that date for our Black History program? And again, remember to please, please, please complete the evaluation before you leave us today. We have run out of time, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, everyone. It was so great having you here. We are thankful for you sharing with us today, and we are looking forward to continuing to bring information to you about food insecurity. This year was 2.0. Let's see what happens next year. Our Black History Month program is February 26th from 11 to 3. We do think that it will be virtual, so please mark that date on your calendar. February 26th from 11 to 3 will be our Black History Month program for Trenton Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We thank you all for coming and joining us today. We are so grateful to have you. Continue to enjoy the remainder of your evening. We are sending out love to all of our presenters. We want to thank you for coming. We want everyone to know that here at Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated Trenton Alumni chapters, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your talents. We know that you have come out to support us today. So Assemblywoman Verlena Reynolds Jackson, we send hats off to you. We thank you, and we are so grateful to you for being our soror. Assemblyman with Mr. Benjamin Wimberly, we thank you so much for coming out today and sharing with us. We thank you so much, Mr. Cookcase. We really appreciate you for your time and your talents. We know that you have been a great support to the Mercer County Board of Social Services, and we appreciate you for your support today, your resources that you share with us, and we know that you have our best interests at heart, and we thank you for coming and sharing with our chapter today, and know that we really are grateful to you. Ms. Snow, you really outdid yourself, and Dr. Breeden Balam, another soror who came and shared with us about our insecurity among food and our college students, and we just want to say thank you to soror Breeden Balam as well. We are so grateful for all of you today, and we really appreciate you taking out time of your busy schedules to come and present to our panel guests and participants. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Good night.